when early company building, of course, we're using our resources, going through our own LinkedIn, asking our friends who they know. But with people trying to break into tech, how do we optimize for diversity and making sure that, yes, we leverage folks who we do trust, but also keeping in mind others who may not necessarily have a tech background, but may want to break into tech, or essentially just how do we optimize for diversity and inclusion?
I think there's a couple ways to think about this. So one is the founding team. And so if you really want to solve the problem, like try and solve it at the founder level. And that's the easiest way to solve it. And then like have that be something that's actually working in your favor moving forward, as opposed to always playing from behind. But if that isn't an option, then I really think you have to be intentional about it at the earliest levels of a company, like in the first 5 to 6 employees. And if you're not there, all of a sudden it gets harder and harder and harder as time goes on. And so if you are in the first 5, this is the point in time to where you have to be super intentional. And as it relates to speed, Jaclyn talked about this, but I actually think this is actually when you need to move slower and be super intentional about trying to get diversity into the company at the earliest days. And so I actually believe that top of funnel is the biggest thing here. This is where outbound sourcing, which all of us should be doing anyways. There's great tools like Gem, which almost every single early stage and late stage company is now using to help with outbound sourcing. I think you need to be trying to get 50% of your top of funnel to have at least 50% of underrepresented minorities in the top of the funnel.
I think one other way to think about it, again, is thinking about your ecosystem that you're building, right? And one really important sort of persona in there is your investors, and trying to diversify your cap table is then a really great way to then be able to leverage their networks for hiring more diverse folks. So that's the way, I've sort of been thinking about it for us as well, as like not just on your team, but also your investors and your advisors, and then being able to leverage everyone's networks, as well as supplementing it with outbound, and then also sort of partnering with different communities and other sort of organizations that can help you to diversify your pipeline as well.
Also, depending on the role, like we have customer support roles that are more entry level, and for those we actually do an exercise right off the bat, and I think that we've actually gotten people with different backgrounds who like really shine through on that in a way that we might not have picked them just from looking at their LinkedIn or resume. So for certain roles, having that be the first step is a bit more objective, and I think that can really help. And then the other thing is like I really emphasize what traits are you looking for, and interview 2 traits, as opposed to just having people on your team meet them and asking the question, did you like them? And so getting people in the debrief to say like, they were able to demonstrate this trait through X, Y, and Z on the interview, I think also just makes it so that people aren't just rounding up or rounding down based off of likability. And because likability is often driven by having something in common with the other person. And then you start to, get kind of the exact same flavor of people, which, obviously is not the diverse approach. And so for us, like I think emphasizing sourcing, yes, absolutely, top of funnel, yes. And then also making sure your process is like fair and balanced and you're really interviewing for traits is very important.